What if I told you that the entire digital foundation of our world, the very engine that powers our economies, our social connections, and the burgeoning intelligence of AI, is built on a technology that's running out of road? And what if the solution, the next great leap for humanity, is being forged right now in a quiet German town, using a material so thin it's practically two-dimensional, and a force as ancient and fundamental as light itself? This is the story of a revolution happening in plain sight. It's a story about the end of an empire built on sand, and the dawn of a new one built on carbon. Deep in the heart of Germany, far from the bustling tech hubs of Silicon Valley or Shenzhen, a quiet but profound revolution is brewing. It's not happening with a bang, but with the silent, focused hum of advanced machinery and the intense concentration of brilliant minds. A startup, a name you'll soon come to know, is pioneering a new kind of computer chip. But these chips don't work like anything in your phone or laptop. They don't push tiny temperamental electrons through microscopic copper wires. Instead, they guide pure, unadulterated light through channels made of a carbon-based material just a single atom thick: graphene. Their goal isn't just a laboratory curiosity or a scientific paper. Their goal is mass production, and their timeline is aggressive. By 2030, they aim to be producing these photonic chips at scale. If they succeed, it won't just be an upgrade. It will be a cataclysmic shift, a moment that could flip the entirety of modern computing on its head, virtually overnight. The very way artificial intelligence learns, the speed at which data centers operate, and the fundamental logic by which machines think will be redefined. This is not just a new chip. It is the seed of a new reality. To understand why this is so monumental, we have to look back at the hero of the last half-century, silicon. For 50 years, silicon has been the bedrock of our digital world. The tiny silicon transistors etched onto its surface have been the tireless soldiers of the information age, governed by the almost prophetic decree of Moore's law, doubling in number and power roughly every 2 years. This relentless shrinking and accelerating has given us everything from pocket-sized supercomputers to the global internet. But that golden era is dimming. For years, we've heard whispers of the end of Moore's law, usually framed as a problem of size. We simply can't make transistors much smaller without quantum weirdness taking over. But the real problem, the one that's hitting us right now, isn't the transistors themselves. It's the wiring between them. Imagine building the world's most advanced skyscrapers, but connecting them with narrow, winding dirt roads. The buildings are magnificent, but the city's traffic is at a standstill. That's what has happened inside our chips. The microscopic copper interconnects that shuttle information between billions of transistors are now the bottleneck. They create heat, they create electrical resistance, and they create signal delays that are choking the life out of our most powerful processors. Silicon scaling, as we've known it, is over. Let's really visualize this. Think of a Formula One race car, a pinnacle of engineering, capable of screaming down a track at over 200 miles per hour. Now imagine taking that same car and putting it on a muddy, rutted country trail. The engine roars, it burns fuel, it generates immense power, but the car barely moves. It just spins its wheels, generating more heat than forward motion. That supercar is today's advanced computer chip. Inside, we have processor cores of pure genius, architectural marvels designed to perform trillions of calculations a second. But they are trapped, constrained by the very physical medium they rely on. The solution so far has been brute force. Add more cores, invent more elaborate and power-hungry cooling systems. But these are just patches, temporary fixes that only buy us time. The fundamental issue remains the internal highways of the chip. These copper pathways, once seen as passive wires, are now acting as resistors, turning the lightning-fast speed of our computations into waste heat. It's like digital cholesterol, clogging the world's computational arteries. And the heart of our global information economy is beginning to strain under the pressure. When the road you're on becomes impassable, the only solution is to find a new way to travel. To break through this physical barrier, engineers are turning away from the troubled electron and embracing its ethereal cousin, the photon, the fundamental particle of light. The difference is night and day, almost literally. Electrons are physical particles with mass and charge. When you force them through a copper wire, they jostle and collide with the atoms of the metal, like a crowd of people pushing through a narrow hallway. This friction generates heat and slows everyone down. Photons, on the other hand, have no mass and no charge. They travel at, well, the speed of light, and they don't interact with their environment in the same messy way. They are the ultimate clean, efficient couriers of information. We already trust photons to do the heavy lifting for our global communication. The video you are watching right now was likely carried to you as pulses of light through undersea fiber optic cables spanning thousands of miles. The challenge has always been shrinking that intercontinental highway down to the microscopic scale inside a chip. The first attempts, known as silicon photonics, were a crucial first step. They proved the concept was possible. But silicon is not a natural master of light. It's clumsy. The devices are relatively large, their bandwidth is limited, and they demand a lot of power to operate. They were the steam engine of the light revolution. Now we need the warp drive. And that's where graphene makes its grand entrance. If silicon was the workhorse of the 20th century, graphene is poised to be the thoroughbred of the 21st. Discovered in 2004, its properties sound like something torn from a comic book. It's a single layer of carbon atoms, perfectly arranged in a two-dimensional honeycomb lattice. It is 200 times stronger than steel, yet so light a square meter of it weighs less than a milligram. But its physical properties are only half the story. Electrically, it's a marvel. Its electrons move with almost zero resistance, a property known as high electron mobility, measured at over 200,000 centimeters, a number that leaves silicon in the dust. But its true superpower in this story is its relationship with light. Graphene is optically tunable. This means that by applying a tiny, almost negligible amount of voltage, you can change how it interacts with light. You can tell it to become transparent, or you can tell it to become opaque, and it can do this almost instantaneously across a vast spectrum of light, from the visible colors we see to the infrared used in telecommunications. It is, for all intents and purposes, the perfect ultimate light gate. So we have our miracle material. But how do you use it to compute? The answer lies in a beautiful and surprisingly simple-sounding device called the Mach-Zehnder interferometer. It sounds complex, but the concept is elegant. Imagine a beam of light as a single river. The interferometer is like a fork in that river, splitting the flow of light into two perfectly identical paths. A short distance later, these two paths are guided back to merge into one again. Now, here's the magic. If the two light beams travel their separate paths and arrive at the merging point perfectly in sync, crest meeting crest, trough meeting trough, they combine and amplify each other. The result is a bright beam of light. We can call this a binary 1. But if you can slightly delay one of the beams so it arrives just out of sync, crest meeting trough, they cancel each other out. The result is darkness. We can call this a binary 0. This is how light becomes code. The Mach-Zehnder interferometer turns brightness into information. Now, add a layer of graphene over one of those paths. By applying that tiny voltage, you can instantly and precisely control the delay of the light passing through it. This graphene-based switch is what makes the whole system sing. It's incredibly fast, fantastically energy efficient, and breathtakingly small. This isn't just a switch, it's the gateway to building optical interconnects that can finally unshackle our processors, GPUs, and servers from the tyranny of copper. This incredible science is now leaving the pristine environment of the university laboratory and entering the gritty, high-stakes world of industrial manufacturing. In the city of Aachen, Germany, a place historically known for its cathedrals and kings, a new kind of cathedral is being built. The company Black Semiconductor is leading the charge, constructing what they call Fab 1. This isn't just another silicon foundry. It is a purpose-built factory designed to mass-produce graphene-based photonic chips. This is a monumental bet. They are moving from promise to production. Their roadmap is clear. Begin pilot production by 2026 and achieve industrial-scale manufacturing by 2030. This is Germany, and by extension Europe, planting a flag. They are not just trying to catch up in the current silicon race, they are attempting to define the racetrack of the future. By investing in the infrastructure for a post-silicon era, they are positioning themselves at the very center of a new optical economy, betting that the future will be built not on silicon, but on carbon and light. Of course, a revolution of this magnitude is never a one-horse race. The potential is too vast, and the established players are not standing still. Across the Atlantic, innovators like Destination 2D in the United States are pushing the boundaries of two-dimensional materials. In Canada, NanoExplore is tackling the challenge of mass-producing graphene itself. And the titans of the industry are watching and acting. Giants like TSMC and Intel, the undisputed kings of silicon, are not planning to rip out their multi-billion-dollar foundries. Instead, they're exploring a more pragmatic, evolutionary path: hybrid integration. Their focus is on practical adoption, not a complete reinvention. The idea is to strategically embed graphene where it delivers the most impact, in those crucial interconnect layers and in the optical modulators that talk to the outside world. It's like renovating a historic building. You keep the strong, classic foundation, but upgrade the electrical and data wiring to modern standards. In this way, they can phase in the future, one powerful, light-guiding layer at a time. This global race signals a fundamental shift in the rules of the game. For decades, the chip war was a war of density. The winning question was always, how many more transistors can you cram onto a square millimeter of silicon? It was a battle of smaller and smaller things. That battle is now evolving. The next great chip war won't be about the size of the transistors, but about the speed and efficiency of the highways that connect them. The new metrics of victory are different. We're now talking about optical lanes, measured in bandwidth per fiber. We're talking about low-energy switching, measured in femtojoules per bit. The competition is no longer just about processing power, but about data movement. With photons as the carriers, the very nature of computation begins to transform. Data doesn't just move to the processor, it moves as light and through light, becoming an active part of the calculation itself. The focus has shifted from the city's buildings to the superhighways that define its potential. And here is where the story takes another breathtaking turn. That same Mach-Zehnder interferometer, the device that can create digital ones and zeros, has another, even more powerful trick up its sleeve. By controlling the brightness of the incoming light beams, it can perform analog multiplication. Instead of just on or off, you can have varying shades of light that, when they interfere, produce an output that is the mathematical product of the inputs. Why does that matter? Because the absolute core of modern artificial intelligence and deep learning is a mathematical operation called a matrix multiplication. It's an endless series of multiplications and additions. Today, our GPUs perform these calculations using billions of digital transistors, each one consuming power and generating heat. A photonic chip can perform thousands of these multiplications simultaneously, in parallel, simply by passing light through a grid of these tiny modulators. The computation happens passively, through the physics of wave interference, not active, power-hungry electricity. This isn't theory. Companies like Lightmatter and IR Labs are already building and deploying these systems for specialized AI tasks. They have proven that light can not only be the messenger, but the mathematician as well. It can both compute and communicate, collapsing two of the biggest energy sinks in modern data centers into one elegant, light-based operation. But for every beautiful, elegant theory, there is a harsh, industrial reality. Graphene's perfection at the atomic level is also its greatest challenge at the factory level. Producing a single, flawless, wafer-scale sheet of graphene is immensely difficult. Think of trying to lay down a bedsheet the size of a city block without a single wrinkle, tear, or speck of dust. Any tiny crack, any stray impurity from another element can disrupt the flow of light and ruin an entire multi-million-dollar chip. Furthermore, you can't just drop graphene into a silicon fabrication plant. The chemistry is different. The process flows are different. New methods for patterning, Etching and integrating this new material have to be invented, perfected, and made reliable enough for mass production. This is why the transition will almost certainly be a hybrid one. Copper and silicon won't simply vanish. They are too established, too well understood. Instead, they will slowly cede territory, giving way to new optical layers built on top of or alongside them, handling the tasks they are no longer suited for. Ultimately, the pace of this revolution will not be dictated by physicists, but by economists. In the ruthless world of high-tech manufacturing, progress is governed by a cold, hard equation of cost, yield, and throughput. A new technology can be 10 times better, but if it's 10 times more expensive to produce reliably, it will remain a niche product. The key will be to find those high-value, beachhead applications where the benefits are so overwhelming, they justify the initial cost and risk. Think of massive AI data centers run by hyperscalers like Google, Amazon, or Microsoft. For them, the cost of electricity is one of their biggest operational expenses. If a new graphene photonic interconnect can drastically reduce the energy consumed per bit of data transferred, the long-term savings could be astronomical. Once a few of these use cases are proven to be reliable and cost-effective, the momentum will snowball. A new ecosystem will form around it. Design kits and software tools will be developed. Supply chains for high-quality graphene will mature. What now looks like a decade-long vision could rapidly accelerate into a 3-year industry-wide revolution, driven by the undeniable logic of economics. Throughout history, when the core materials of an industry change, the global balance of power shifts. The Bronze Age gave way to the Iron Age. The Age of Coal gave way to the Age of Oil. The Age of Silicon created new technological superpowers. Now, a shift from silicon to carbon could redraw the geopolitical map once again. The manufacturing of leading-edge silicon chips is one of the most geographically concentrated industries on Earth, heavily reliant on a few key players in places like Taiwan and South Korea, and on highly specialized equipment from a single company in the Netherlands for EUV lithography. Graphene, on the other hand, is made from carbon, the fourth most abundant element in the universe. While the process is complex, the raw material is not. This has the potential to democratize high-tech manufacturing. Advanced nodes and lithography will still be critical, but the ability to build the ultra-fast optical interconnect layers could give new strategic footholds to regions that were previously left out of the silicon race, Europe, the Middle East, and others could leverage their strengths in materials science to become key players in this new paradigm. This brings us back to Fab 1 in Aachen. Germany's bet is not merely a commercial enterprise, it is a profound act of strategic foresight. It's about achieving what politicians and strategists call technological sovereignty. It is the ambition to own and control the fundamental infrastructure of the next technological era. Europe has a deep and rich history in the foundational sciences required for this leap. World-class photonics research, unparalleled expertise in precision machinery and manufacturing, and a leading edge in materials science. Germany's play is to converge these national strengths into a single, focused effort to build the digital highways of the next generation. They don't want to just drive on the new roads. They want to be the ones who design, build, and own them. Meanwhile, the demand that fuels this race is only growing more intense. Hyperscalers in Asia, North America, and the Middle East are all accelerating their investments in next-generation computing. They are facing an existential problem. The demand for AI and data processing is growing exponentially, but the energy budgets and physical space in their data centers are finite. They are, in a sense, technology agnostic. They don't fundamentally care if the solution is built on copper, carbon, or silicon. Their demand is simple and relentless. Give us better performance per watt. Give us more bandwidth per dollar. The race is now purely about efficiency, and whoever can build the smoothest, fastest, and most energy-efficient optical pipeline from the processor to the network will win the business of the companies that run our digital world. For those looking at this landscape and wondering where the real opportunity lies, it's crucial to look beyond the obvious. The goal isn't necessarily to build a direct NVIDIA killer. The truly generational opportunity lies in feeding AI's insatiable hunger for bandwidth. It's in building the picks and shovels for the new gold rush. The companies that will define the next great infrastructure layer are the ones mastering graphene integration and photonic design. So, how do you filter the contenders from the pretenders? There are two simple but powerful questions to ask. First, does their technology roadmap offer a meaningful, order-of-magnitude reduction in power and area per bit? Is it a genuine leap or just an incremental improvement? Second, what is their manufacturing realism? Can their process be integrated into the existing multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure of silicon fabs, or does it require a complete reinvention from the ground up? The companies that have a credible answer to both questions are the ones building the future. When you take a step back and look at the entirety of this story, you realize it's about so much more than just faster computer chips. It's about a fundamental, elemental shift in our technological logic. We are witnessing a transition from a world built on sand, silicon, to one built on carbon, the very basis of life itself. We are moving from the brute force of herding electrons to the elegant dance of guiding light. This shift promises to ripple outwards, changing everything. It could move us from a world of centralized, incredibly complex fabrication plants to a future of more distributed and democratized innovation. This is a future where light doesn't just transmit our information, but carries it, computes with it, and connects us through it. It's not magic. It's the profound power of understanding and mastering materials at the most fundamental level. The journey from a single atom of carbon to a reimagined digital universe is a testament to human ingenuity. It reminds us that our greatest limitations are often not barriers of knowledge, but failures of imagination. We hit a wall with silicon and copper, and instead of just trying to punch through it, we're learning how to bypass it entirely, to travel on a different medium altogether. There's a powerful lesson in that for all of us. When you face a bottleneck in your own life, in your career, your learning, your relationships, sometimes the answer isn't just more effort in the same direction. It's not about revving the engine harder in the mud. The real breakthrough often comes from asking if there's a different road to take, a different medium to work in. It's about looking for that fundamental, elemental shift. So I leave you with this to think about. As this technology matures, what do you think will be the very first device in your daily life that will be powered by light on the inside? And if you had access to this near-limitless computational speed and efficiency, what global problem would you dedicate it to solving? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation that is just beginning, and every one of us has a stake in the future it will shape. If this story illuminated your mind and sparked your curiosity, please share it with someone who you think would appreciate it. Because the quantum silk route isn't fiction, it's the hidden highway of light, carbon, and computation that is being paved right now, shaping the next era of human potential. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey. Stay safe, stay curious, and take good care of yourselves and each other. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the technologies that are shaping our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss where we go next.